I've spent thousands of hours in pointe shoes myself, both as a student and as a professional ballerina, and I've taught pre-pointe and pointe classes for many years. So, what I'll be sharing today comes from personal experience, hands on teaching, and a deep understanding of the body through a scientific lens. So, what are the main things a ballet teacher looks at when deciding whether a dancer is ready for pointe work? There are actually several key areas we consider, and the first is physical readiness. We start by asking, does the dancer have enough strength in their ankles and feet to support themselves safely on pointe? Can they maintain proper alignment through the pelvis, knees, and feet? And can they do that without sickling? Let's pause and talk about sickling for a moment because it's an important concept. Sickling is a term we use in ballet to describe incorrect foot alignment, usually when the heel drops backwards and the toes curve inward, causing the foot to bend at the ankle in a way that breaks the straight line of the leg. So not only does sickling break that clean classical line we're always aiming for in ballet, but it also puts dancers at a much higher risk of injury, particularly for ankle sprains, especially when they're weight bearing like in releve or on pointe. Now, beyond foot and ankle strength, another area that's absolutely essential is core strength. A lot of people assume pointe work is all about the lower body, and yes, it's true that the feet and ankles are doing a lot. But pointe work is really a full body effort, and stability starts with a strong core. And when I say core, I'm talking about the abdominals, obliques, back muscles, and even those deep pelvic stabilizers. All of these muscles work together to keep a dancer upright, balanced, and centered, especially when transitioning in and out of movements or balancing on pointe. Without core support, dancers often end up collapsing down into their lower back, overusing their thighs, or losing alignment through their hips. And all that extra strain ends up in the feet and the ankles. And speaking of feet, ankle mobility is the next piece of the puzzle. To rise fully on pointe, a dancer needs enough range of motion in their ankles, particularly in plantar flexion. That's the motion of pointing the foot down. We're looking for a beautiful continuous line from the top of the leg all the way through to the toes. If a dancer doesn't have enough mobility to get fully over their box, which is the part of the pointe shoe that covers the toes, they'll end up kind of hovering back just off of the platform, which is the tip of the shoe, which not only makes balancing extremely difficult, but it also increases the risk of falling or rolling the ankle. So it's not just about strength or flexibility on their own. It's about how everything works together. Core stability, ankle range of motion, alignment, and control. All of those systems have to be functioning well to support pointe work safely. And if one of those pieces is missing, the risk of injury goes up. Now let's talk about another major consideration, technical proficiency. This is the foundation everything else is built on. No matter how physically strong or flexible a dancer may be, if their technique isn't solid, it's just not safe or productive for them to start pointe work. We start by looking at their training history. Has the dancer had at least 3 to 5 years of consistent, focused ballet training? Not just once a week recreational classes, but real technique-driven instruction. Pointe requires a deep technical base that takes time and repetition to develop. It's definitely not something that can or should be rushed. Next, we consider frequency. Most ballet teachers agree that students should be taking class at least 2 to 3 times a week before they're considered for pointe. That consistency is what builds the muscle memory and neuromuscular control needed for clean, safe dancing. We also look closely at how a dancer moves on demi-pointe. This is actually one of the best indicators of pointe readiness. Are their releves smooth and controlled? Can they rise and lower with stability and proper alignment? Or do they wobble, roll through the feet unevenly, or collapse into their arches? These little details tell us a lot, not just about the feet, but about full body coordination and control. And of course, we have to take age and physical development into account. Most dancers aren't physically ready for pointe until they're around 11 or 12 years old at the earliest. But even then, it's not just about the number. We also need to consider where they are in their growth process. If point work begins before the bones in the feet, especially the growth plates, are mature, there's a much higher risk for serious injury. I'm talking about things like stress fractures, joint issues, chronic pain, or even long-term structural damage to the foot. So, this part of the decision really has to be made with care and sometimes input from a medical professional. Finally, and this is a piece that's often overlooked, we have to ask, is the dancer emotionally ready for point? Are they mature enough to handle the responsibility that comes with it? Are they focused and consistent in class? Do they take corrections seriously? Because point isn't just a fun milestone, it's a major commitment. It requires discipline, patience, and a real respect for the process. So, when a teacher is assessing point readiness, it's never just one question, like, are they strong enough or are they old enough? It's more like, are they ready in every way? Physically, technically, emotionally, developmentally. It's a big decision and it's deeply personal to each dancer. That's why there's no one size fits all answer. Point readiness is really about the whole picture. And when it all comes together, it's such a rewarding moment for both the dancer and the teacher. Let's imagine a student has just been cleared to begin point work. One of the very first milestones on that journey is getting fitted for their first pair of point shoes. And unlike buying everyday shoes, this process is detailed, personalized, and very important. Point shoes are not one size fits all. They need to be carefully matched to a dancer's foot shape, strength, flexibility, and alignment. That's why it's so important to work with a professional fitter, someone who understands both the structure of the foot and the technical demands of ballet. Ideally, the dancer's ballet or point teacher will also attend the fitting, especially for that very first pair. But many experienced fitters are highly trusted by teachers and can handle the process with great care and accuracy. During a point shoe fitting, dancers can expect to try on several different point shoes while the fitter evaluates things like toe length, arch flexibility, foot width, and how the dancer moves through releve. The goal is to find a shoe that provides support, allows the dancer to fully get over the box, and maintains proper alignment through the ankle and lower leg. It's rarely a quick process. It takes time, trial and error, and often input from both the teacher and the fitter. And of course, this is also a big emotional moment. Getting your first pair of point shoes is a rite of passage. It's exciting, sometimes a little intimidating, and definitely something to be proud of. So, what's my advice? Don't rush, be patient, listen to how the shoes feel, and include your teacher in the process as much as possible. A well-fitted point shoe is the foundation for safe, confident point work, and this step deserves the time and attention it needs. Now we're going to shift gears and talk about what the early stages of point training look like, but don't worry, I'll be dedicating an entire episode soon to point shoe anatomy and the full fitting process. So what should the primary goals be for a student during their first year on point? That's such an important question, and honestly, I think it's one that doesn't get asked enough. A lot of dancers are so excited to finally get their point shoes, and rightfully so, that it's easy to get caught up in the excitement and overlook what that first year is really about. In my opinion, the first year on point is all about laying the groundwork. It's not about pirouettes or big across the floor combinations on point. It's about building strength, refining alignment, and developing the specific coordination and control needed to dance safely and confidently in point shoes. One of the biggest goals should be learning how to articulate through the shoe. Point shoes are much harder and less forgiving than flat shoes, so students need to learn how to roll up and down through demi-point with control, how to rise onto the platform without sickling, and how to maintain turnout from the hips even while balancing on a very tiny surface area. Another huge focus is strengthening the muscles of the feet and the ankles. Point work is incredibly demanding, and those muscles need some time to adapt. Exercises at the bar like releves, échappés, simple rises up and down should be repeated often to build endurance and stability. It's also about building awareness, how the body feels and moves in the shoes, how weight is distributed, and how to correct imbalances before they become bad habits. Students are essentially learning a whole new instrument, the pointe shoe, and that takes time, patience, and lots of repetition. So the goal for the first year really isn't about tricks. It's about foundation. It's about creating safe habits, building strength, and developing confidence one careful step at a time. If a dancer can come out of their first year with strong basics, good alignment, and a respect for the work that pointe requires, that is a huge success. Now let's take a moment to talk about a situation that can feel really disappointing for a dancer. What happens when your ballet teacher says you're not ready for pointe just yet? This can be a tough moment, especially if you've been working hard, dreaming about that first pair of pointe shoes and watching your classmates move forward. And as teachers, we know how sensitive this is. We don't take these conversations lightly. We truly want all of our students to succeed and to do so safely. But here's the most important thing to understand. When a teacher decides a student isn't ready for pointe, it's never meant as a punishment or a personal judgment. It's a safety decision. Pointe work is incredibly demanding on the body, and moving into it too soon, before a dancer has the strength, technique, or physical maturity to support it, can lead to real injuries. We're talking about things like sprained ankles, stress fractures, or long-term damage to the feet and the joints. As teachers, our number one job is to protect your long-term well-being, not just to get you into pointe shoes as quickly as possible. In fact, holding a dancer back is often one of the hardest decisions we have to make because we do see your effort, your excitement, and how much it means to you. But we're also looking at the full picture, your technique, strength, control, consistency, and even your emotional readiness. And sometimes it's just a matter of timing. You might be just a few months or a few key technical improvements away from being ready. So if this is something you've experienced or might experience in the future, please know it's not the end of the road. It's a pause, not a stop. The work you do in that extra time, building strength, refining your technique, and developing confidence, isn't holding you back. It's actually setting you up for a much stronger, safer, and more successful start when you do begin pointe. And when that day comes, you'll be ready in every sense of the word. All right, so let's take a moment to recap what we've covered so far in today's episode. We started by looking at some of the key factors ballet teachers consider when determining if a student is ready to begin pointe work. Things like strength, technique, alignment, and overall physical development. Then we touched on what the pointe shoe fitting process looks like and why it's so important to work with a trained professional. From there, we talked about what students can expect in their first few months or even their first year on pointe, and how the early stages are really all about building a strong foundation. And finally, we discussed what it means when a teacher decides a student isn't quite ready yet, and why that decision is made with care, patience, and the dancer's safety in mind. So far today, we've mostly focused on what we might think of as the more traditional path into pointe work. That is, a student who begins ballet at a young age, trains consistently for several years, and is typically ready to start pointe around age 11 or 12. But what happens if someone discovers ballet a little bit later? Say they take their first class at 13, fall completely in love with it, and set a goal to eventually dance on pointe. Is that still possible? The short answer is absolutely yes. I've had several students start ballet in their early teens and work their way safely and successfully into pointe training. And I also have friends and colleagues in the ballet world who didn't begin their training until they were teenagers, and some of them went on to have professional careers. So while the timing might look different, the goal is still very much within reach. The process we've discussed today, building foundational strength, developing clean technique, training consistently several times a week, and working closely with your teacher, applies no matter your age. The difference is simply the timeline. Instead of aiming for pointe readiness at 11 or 12, a dancer who starts later will go through the same steps but on a slightly adjusted schedule. And in some ways, older beginners bring strengths of their own, more maturity, focus, and self-awareness, which can really support the training process. So if you're someone who started ballet a bit later, please don't feel discouraged. Your journey may look different, but that doesn't make it any less valid or any less exciting. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to speak directly to the parents of dance students who may be listening. Whether you're driving your dancer to class every day, helping them sew ribbons onto their shoes, or just learning the world of ballet alongside them. We've spent a lot of time today talking about the dynamic between ballet students and teachers when it comes to assessing point readiness. But parents also play a really important collaborative role in this process. In fact, your support can make all the difference. Teachers are looking at things like physical development, strength, and technical skill. But you, as the parent, often have a unique view of your child's habits, mindset, and readiness outside of the studio, things we teachers don't always get to see. How is your dancer managing the emotional side of training? Are they showing the consistency, patience, and focus that point work requires? Are they recovering well between classes? These observations matter, and sharing them with your child's teacher can help create a fuller picture of where your dancer is in their journey. And of course, your encouragement is everything. Point work can be thrilling, but it also brings new challenges, discomfort, and a real need for perseverance. Your belief in your dancer, your patience with their timeline, and your willingness to trust the process, especially if point readiness takes longer than expected, are incredibly valuable. So thank you for being a part of this journey. When teachers, students, and parents work together with open communication and shared goals, we give young dancers the strongest possible foundation, not just for point work, but for everything ballet has to offer. And with that, we've come to the end of our two-part series on point readiness. Over these episodes, we've explored the topic from two important angles. First, diving into what the latest scientific research tells us about when dancers are physically and developmentally ready for point work. Then we shifted to the ballet teacher's perspective, drawing from years of hands-on experience in the studio to understand how those principles translate into real-world decisions about readiness and training. I hope this series has given you a well-rounded understanding of how complex and nuanced the journey to point really is. It's about much more than just age or desire. It's a careful balance of strength, technique, alignment, maturity, and even emotional readiness. And ultimately, it's about setting each dancer up for a safe, successful, and joyful experience on point. Thank you for joining me today for the Ballet Science Podcast. Whether you are a dancer, teacher, student, or simply curious about the mechanics behind movement, I appreciate you being here today. Each week, we'll explore the intersection of science and ballet, from injury prevention and biomechanics to nutrition, mindset, and everything in between. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow this podcast, leave a review, and share it with your friends and dance community. If there are specific topics you'd like to hear about in future episodes, feel free to share them in the comments below. You can also follow Ballet Science on social media and visit our website at ballet.science for additional information. Thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Ballet Science Podcast.